week, a new movie hit theaters called Sound of Freedom. The film is based off the real-life work of Tim Ballard, who works to free children from child trafficking. The movie stars Jim Caviezel, and it was shot 5 years back and originally had a distribution deal with Fox, but then Fox was acquired by Disney, and Disney decided to shelve the film, and it took them several years to be able to reacquire, or for the producers of the film to reacquire the distribution rights and get a new deal. They cut a deal with Angel Studios, and thus the film is finally released. And because of the subject matter of the film and the person that it's tied to, it's very much using a grassroots campaign to try and spread the message about childhood trafficking, gain support for the causes to help end it in the world. And so it's a film that didn't have a lot of mainstream marketing, Hollywood support, or anything like that, but it looks like it's going to have a pretty big opening this weekend, built entirely on the grassroots movement side of things. And it was a film that was only mildly on my radar until a few weeks back, and a bunch of people started DMing me about it repeatedly, and I was like, okay, what's this? And Jim Caviezel? I like Jim Caviezel. He was star of that show Person of Interest the last decade that I thought was a very cool show. I'd love to see him in more stuff. Oh, okay, looks like there's actually a real good message and movement behind all of this. Let me check this out. So, checked it out a couple days ago, and it's probably one of the most emotionally potent films that I've seen in a long time, simply because of the subject matter. It is kind of this very direct, in-your-face look at how child trafficking works, and some of the efforts to try and save children from it, and how they catch some of the people involved in all the elements of it. And it just kind of shows you how children get taken, the sting operations, and little images and glimpses into the people producing and consuming all of this. And it's bleak. It's gross. It's just gut-wrenching to see. And so inherently, when you have a movie that touches on something like this, it's a very powerful experience. Eye-opening. It's the sort of thing that immediately makes you want to go into action against what you're seeing, because it's just so despicable and the worst of mankind. And it's real. It's out there. And any normal, reasonable person wants it to be obliterated from the world, and anyone involved in any of it to face the consequences. So the film, what it does really well is it's able to show you the harsh reality without being exploitive or actually being that overt and direct in what it's showing. It's able to elicit the response, creep you out, disgust you, show you the horrors of what these children are facing without actually having to overtly show anything or anything like that. It doesn't go down that path, but it so clearly lets you know what did happen or what is happening, or showing people's reactions to looking at images and how it breaks their heart, or the flip side of the people that are in, like, that are the criminals in all of this, their lack of concern in it. And so because of that, it's powerful without being exploitive. It also, somewhat because you just are so heartbroken over the victims in these stories and so rooting for the efforts to save them, it's able to have big moments of victory. Like these real life criminals that are like, some of the sequences are exactly kind of things that happened, and they show you actual video at times of some of these sting operations and stuff. These horrible criminals, when they're caught, it is of course satisfying, both because even as characters in a movie, you want to see them brought to justice, but even more so, they're real. And so seeing these despicable people captured is powerful. But it does all of this, and when someone's saved, represents a real person that was pulled out of this disgusting world. And that's powerful. And it's able to have the moments of victory, satisfaction, thrills, and excitement without turning into Taken, without it being just like this fantasy movie about every man wants to know he could step up to the plate and be a hero. It's not that at all. That's not what this movie is. It very much shows the toll all of this takes, and that there's nothing safe, easy about it. It's very nasty work to try and, because you have to go into a world, you have to be exposed to things that shouldn't be. And so it's not at all the fantasy romanticized version of it. It's like, how does this really happen? How do you set sting operations? And so you have the victory without it exploiting it, turning it into a fantasy, something like that is meant for other films that I do enjoy, but that's not what this is. That's trying to shed light on the actual real issues going on with human trafficking. But as powerful it is, it does rely on the reality of it to carry a lot of that weight. When it comes to it's well made, it's professional. You have real actors in this. I mean, Jim Caviezel, of course, Passion of the Christ, been starring in movies for over 20 years now, starring in TV shows. And then even his wife is played by Mira Sorvino. And other familiar faces kind of pop up throughout the film. So it's well made. On a storytelling side of things, it doesn't have the best cadence, pacing, flow to it. It kind of does kind of a matter of fact, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And it's 2 hours, 10 minutes long, and it feels like it could have been an hour, 50 minutes long, where I felt the length. There's a big victory in the film around the hour and 20 minute mark. And I was watching kind of late at night, so I was a little bit paying attention to what time it was, because I needed to go to bed. And so I was like, all right, looks like the movie's about to end. And I checked as there's 50 minutes left in the film. I was like, oh, I thought that was the whole thing. We got 50 minutes left here. So it does drag a little bit at times and kind of takes its time in getting some things done. And then with the way certain things play out, with kind of the sting operations or the rescues where he goes in, it doesn't have it doesn't do the best job of, on a filmmaking level, setting up the tension, setting up the elements, the payoff. It's just kind of everything's there that needs to be there. This person was here, and then this happened, and yeah, we got him. We saved the person. It has all those things on a checklist, but when it comes to that just storytelling flow of really building tension in a sequence, will we be able to do this? Will we pull it off? Is this person there? Will we survive? Are we in danger? And you kind of feel the tension building, the conflicts increasing, and then you have the big release of payoff. That side of things, I think it could have been better. It relies heavily on just the reality of what's taking place to deliver the payoff, which I want to see those scumbags arrested or killed, and I want to see those children set free. And when those things happen, of course, it's satisfying and powerful and emotional. But you also watch and be like, oh, that's it. That's the whole sequence. I thought we would do more to play it out properly. So there's several things like that in the storytelling, filmmaking side of things that could have been better. Taking the movie on its own merits, it's a powerful story behind a great cause, wanting to end child trafficking. That's a good thing. That's something we should rally behind. It is not an easy watch because of the subject matter. It is one that it's draining. If you're normal, it will disgust you because of what's in there, and it'll make you want to act to change. And that's what the movie's goal was. So I absolutely recommend the film. There's pacing issues. There's some story flow issues on a cinema level. It has some things that there's problems with it. It should have been a little bit shorter, but absolutely it serves its purpose. With a movie like this that is so message based and so much behind it. I don't even know how I score this film just a couple days after watching it. I know it's a movie that sticks with me because it's such a potent experience. So I do recommend checking it out. Let me know what you guys thought about it down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.